Okay then. So in this week we are going to have PPT of the first February classes. So apart from that, I also request that I will try to share the same PPT to you people also. And the first week of February, the current affairs was priority dominated by budget issues, economic survey, and China surveillance issue, and some other non-important issues. So I would like to tell you the most important thing, or you can say the most important issue for our convenience is budget. Can you give me any clarity about budget? I mean, any idea about budget? Have you seen or any faculty discuss with you regarding budget? Now let me know your opinion. Does any faculty discuss with you about budget?
So actually,
Not yet.
last year we have discussed a little bit about it.
Not now, now. The 2023 I'm talking about.
Uh, no, no, sir,
No, sir.
not yet.
Okay. So, Suno Meri Baat. I'm now going to give you a brief about budget. Okay, what are the main outlines? What are the major areas which are covered by budget? Apart from that, I will also provide you some major outlines, the major policy initiatives of the government. So, for the upcoming prelims, those whoever preparing for prelims, give a attention to it. And whatever I discuss with you, I will just share you the notes also. No worry. Okay. So, let us begin with this issue. The idea of budgeting the state was mentioned in Ardhasastra in a predominant manner. In Chanakya Ardhasastra, there was discussions about kosha, which is a treasury, and every rupee of the kosha has to be given a detailed account to the public. The idea of budget, in fact, Britishers still in the hallucination that they invented this process of budget. However, it was Indian civilization much before these Britishers brought the idea of maintenance of a state control over the treasury. Now, apart from that, taxing people or taxation, the idea of taxation also evolved during the time of the idea of taxation also evolved during the time of even early Vedic period. There is a term called as bhagha associated with that. Further, Chanakya mentions about tax officers particularly. Anyway, I'm not going to touch the aspects of Chanakya's Ardhasastra much more than this. However, the idea of budget was proposed by Britishers in 1860, and the first ever budget in India was introduced by Shanmugam Chetty. Shanmugam Chetty in India. Of course, I should also mention some important facts before going to explain budget. First female person who introduced budget is Indira Gandhi. Now, in addition to this, the first Rajya Sabha member who introduced budget is the great Bengalian, the great Bengali person, Pranab Mukherjee, Pranab Dha. So these are the some important facts associated with it. I will be considered as a sinner if I forgot to mention about the polity aspects of the budget. Now, the polity aspects of the budget is Article 112. You might aware that the name of the word budget doesn't include in constitution. It is not in constitution, in fact. So the word budget is not in the constitution. Then why these newspapers are writing budget? Maybe we should ask Arnab Goswami about that. Okay, even he might have idea. So finally, Article 112 talks about annual financial statement. Annual financial statement of the country. Okay, so it talks about annual financial statement. So whatever we discussed till now, I told you, that is, Arthashastra talks about Kosha, treasury. It is one of the principle of Saptanga theory. If you don't know what is Saptanga theory, don't ask me, ask Google or ask ChatGAT, Chat GPT, it will help you. Whatever it can be, we understood the historical aspects of the budget. We understood the political aspect of the budget. Generally, I don't discuss the budget immediately because I should give you outline of some concepts so that you will get a clarity. So I hope till now I am clear. From last 1 minute I am speaking continuously like a radio jockey. So give me your thoughts about it. Is it clear? Shall I move further?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So can you please repeat what you said about Pranav Mukherjee and Madam Mukherjee? Sir?
I Shekharji, suno meri baat. The first female person introduced budget in India is Indira Gandhi ji. The first
Mhm.
Rajya Sabha member who introduced budget is Pranab Mukherjee. Okay,
Okay.
just factual content, nothing much to
Okay.
explain.
Okay.
Okay, so we we understood the historical aspects of the budget. So now let us try to understand the political aspects. Article 112, as I told you, it stated annual financial statement of an India of a government. Now, what is annual financial statement? It is the estimated receipts, which means revenue plus expenditure. It is the estimated receipts, which is more or less closely to revenue, expenditure of government in a financial year. For us, it is 1st April to 31st March. 1st April to 31st March is the financial year of India. Okay, so the idea here is, it is the receipts and even expenditure of the government in a financial year, the 1st April 31st March. Now try to understand. We should have an idea here. Previously, railway budget and even general budget was introduced in a separated manner. Previously, the separation of railway budget and the general budget was started. It was even asked in Andhra Pradesh Group 1 services exam, which committee recommended this separation. It is Ackworth report. Ackworth report asked to separate budget in 1920 and 21. Okay, so Ackworth report asked the separation, and finally it was implemented in 1924. That is, in 1924 it was separated. Now, after a long time, the both were again merged. The both were again merged in the later part. So obviously in the year 2016, the merging issue of railway budget and general budget is discussed by a famous economist called as Vivek Debroy. So Vivek Debroy sir recommended this. In fact, today also Vivek Debroy sir important because he is part of Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. Will give advice to the ministry, Prime Minister office directly. Anyway, the committee was headed by Vivek Debroy, and Vivek Debroy sir, in a paper that is asking about merging of the budget, and finally they got merging of the budget in the year 2017. So, in the year 2017, it was clearly noted the budget was merged. Now, today, from 2017 onwards, we have the idea of providing a general budget, which is a common budget. Now, in addition to these facts, paperless budget was introduced. The first paperless budget was introduced in the year 2021. 2021, the first paperless budget. In a continuation manner, 2022 and 2023 budgets also is a paperless budgets. What is interesting is these paperless budgets again introduced by same the person Nirmala Sita Raman. Okay, so this should be remembered. And I should also add, last but not least, small information before going to explain the current budget. Okay, that is the person who introduced the budget at a highest number of times. That is, who is the prime minister? Who was the prime minister introduced most number of budget in the Indian Parliament? It is the ex-prime minister.
Indira
Bolo bhai.
Gandhi.
Iska ustao.
Sir, it's Jawaharlal Nehru.
It's Moraji Desai. Anyway, it's a good answer. So it's Moraji Desai. Person introduced most number of budget. He introduced it 10 times. Okay. And this was followed by P. Chidambaram. He introduced it 9 times. And Pranab Mukherjee introduced it 8 times. Of course, there is one more person, that is Yashwant Sinha. Yashwant Sinha also introduced 8 times. Okay, so this is the major outlines of Indian budget history. I began with this issue of what do you call to say, Arthashastra. Then I discussed about the facts regarding the part of the budget, and now I even discussed with you the aspects of polity, Article 119. Then we discussed about annual financial statement. Then we also discussed about highest budget pronunciations. Now I would like to extend my discussion by going for the small issue, that is a small economic concept. One should aware about budget includes certain things. Budget includes issues of revenue expenditure, issues of capital expenditure, plus revenue receipts plus capital receipts. I will discuss these concepts in due course of time. Okay, so shall I start the budget?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, shall I start the budget?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Bolo Radhe Radhe. No one is ready?
Yes, sir.
So bolo Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, sir.
Radhe Radhe.
Only 2. Then I want to start.
Radhe Radhe, sir.
Only 3.
Radhe Radhe, sir.
Only 4. Hey, this is not correct, When faculty is asked, once upon a time, there was one best disciple. His name is Arjun. He did everything for his guru. Ekalavya, he did extremely everything for his guru. But you are not saying Radhe Radhe also. Ha. How can I call you as my students? How can you call me as a sir? This is disrespect to entire community of guru in India. Bolo Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, sir.
Radhe Radhe, sir.
Whatever it can be. Okay, let us start. So, thank you so much for your response. Right. So, the most important things one have to remember for the upcoming prelims exam, because time and again there were questions. For example, they asked a question about what is the theme of the planning commission 12 in the year of 2015, I guess. Then they asked about in 2015 which replaced the planning commission, that is Niti Aayog, in 2015. So whatever the issues which are burning before the exam, either you should have an idea, either you should have an opinion. Opinion is for the prelims exam, for the mains exam. Idea is for the prelims exam. Now, what is the vision of the budget? The vision of the Amrit Kal is opportunities for the citizens focusing on the youth, growth and job creation, strong and stable economic environment. Now, what comes under macroeconomic? It comes under inflation, issues of employment, so such type of topics. Now, moving further, I would like to also mention here that is these 3 aspects are widely covered in the budget in a different manner. Sitaraman, Nirmala Sitaraman ji also stated these are the main priorities of the government for the next coming years. Okay, so there may be MCQ, that is, which of the following is not a vision for the Amrit Kal. So for such type of not a vision, just a second, I will just increase it. Yeah, for such type of questions which are not a vision, you should have an idea. So what are the 3 important things? Opportunities for the youth, growth in job creation, strong stable macro environment are the 3 important issues for the government, for the Amrit Kal. So what is Amrit Kal is about? Amrit Kal talking about up to 100 years by 2047. What is the goals for the India? I am requesting all the students who are preparing for civil service examination, they should have an idea about 2 important issues. Number 1, they should have an idea about what are the challenges for the next 25 years, what are the opportunities for the next 25 years, and what we achieved in the last 75 years. Everyone should have a notes. If possible, after your pre, we can have a session on that particular aspect also. Now, the most expected point question framing is, what do you mean by Saptarishi? So, who are the Saptarishi in India in ancient culture of India? See, Saptarishi are 7 important rishis in Indian history. The Saptarishis are, says Atri, says Angiras. Then with 2 you have 2, says Pulha, says Pulatsya. Then we have with K, says Kratu, and says Marichi, and of course says Vasista. What is true is, even today they are in the name of stars. They are watching you and me. Maybe they are also attending classes. I think so. Okay. Sorry for wrong pronunciation, my dear Saptarishis. Please focus here. Now, these are the Saptarishis as per ancient Indian ancient knowledge. However, the Sapta Rishis for budget 2023 are different. I hope everyone is focusing. The first priority is reaching the last mile, which is the concept of Antyodaya. Antyodaya. Who gave the concept of Antyodaya? Any guess?
Sir, Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
Absolutely no. This was given by a famous person, that is Deen Dayal Upadhyaya. Can you guess anyone? Sarvodaya concept? Concept of Sarvodaya. Shall I give options? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I allowed? Can anyone respond?
Yes, sir. You're
Yes,
audible.
sir. Yes, sir.
So bolo. Who gave the concept of Sarvodaya?
Sir, Gandhi ji.
Very good, Preeti. Excellent. You're correct. Okay. So the concept of Sarvodaya was given by Gandhiji. But anyway, so least reaching the last mile is one of the priority of the government. 2. Youth power. 3. Financial sector. 4. Green growth. 5. Unleashing the potential. 6. Infrastructure investment and inclusive development. Now, try to focus. Every priority has a separate goals. We will discuss one by one, not a problem. Apart from that, Government of India in its budget also mentions about inclusive development achievements. That is, it talks about what we achieved till now. Okay, I'm not giving enough time to discuss this. However, I hope everyone had idea about whatever plans mentioned here. If you don't have any idea, I request you each one of you should have a detailed notes of the schemes. For example, see this Pradhana Mantri, so-called, what is this SBY scheme? Any idea? Any idea about these schemes?
स्वास्थ्य बीमा योजना.
Sorry, sir.
क्या हुआ?
Sir, can you please repeat?
What is this scheme is about? Any idea about these schemes? Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima
स्वास्थ्य बीमा
Yojana.
योजना.
Suraksha Bima Yojana. Correct, Sandeep. So it is Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. So government is saying, in fact, the aim of the scheme is people from 80 to 70 years with a bank account. Okay, they will try to join this insurance coverage scheme of the government. Please remember that. That is Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. Next, read about this Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Yojana. Okay, then we have Jandan accounts, then COVID vaccines, then Ujjwala accounts. You should remember this Ujjwala is in news in this year on two occasions. Number one, Ujjwala is a free LPG provided to the people. Apart from that, it was in news because of Sukrit model in Bihar, in which LPG cylinders were given in exchange of bio waste. Am I clear? So Ujjwala is most important scheme. Please do remember the year of launch and major features of the scheme. Please do that. If you find any difficulty, let me know that. Will you do that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next, read this scheme also. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Then we have these issues. Then PM Kisan. Every scheme is important. Can you tell me which is the only state India doesn't implementing PM Kisan?
Sir,
So
West
West Bengal.
Bengal.
आपको
West Bengal.
बधाई हो. You need to have a laddu also for this. Okay. Anyway, congratulations for all of these achievements. Now, apart from that, now we are going to have the next important issue. That is, what are the major objectives of the government budget? With respect to education, government want to bring district institute for education training. Okay, district institute of education training to improve the quality of the teaching, and also it is going to have national digital library for the students. Okay, finally, every state and every panchayat is encouraged to have have a ward level libraries. Okay, so here you should remember a famous quote given by APJ Abdul Kalam regarding libraries. Okay, according to according to APJ Abdul Kalam, the most important thing is one good book is equal to 1,000 friends, but one good friend is equal to a library. So the best and most important one is people should have a library. The library is a good friend to the people. In fact, you should remember the whole intellectual debates during the freedom movement was primarily taken from the books and the newspapers. So at that time also it is important. Now it is time to have that kind of spirit by libraries itself. So do remember this. So coming to education part, I just covered that. Now Indian government is going to launch libraries at different levels of its journey. Okay, so at different levels they are going to have budget. They are going to have these areas. Okay, so remember that. Now I just want to add one information here. Try to remember, that is, there are there are certain opportunities for transformative opportunities. Remember these lines again. What are the transformative opportunities for India highlighted in the budget? The four transformative opportunities are: number one, it is economic empowerment. Economic empowerment of women through self-help groups. Two, Pradhan Mantri Vishwakarma Pradhan Mantri Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman, which is a skilling scheme called as PM Vikas. Third one, tourism. Tourism promotion in mission mode. Fourth one, green growth. Is it clear? So the most important thing for all of us to understand is the idea of transformative opportunities. What are the transformative opportunities? Economic empowerment and women through self-help groups. Most important one. Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman, which is a skilling project. Tourism promotion in mission mode, which is also an important thing. And a green growth. All are important priorities for the government of India. Now, to start
सर
with
फर्स्ट
the
वाला पॉइंट एक और बार बोल दीजिए.
economic empowerment of women through self-help groups. आपको मालूम है ना यार, गांव गांव पर यानी शहर पर आपको सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स मिलेगा. यानी 10 यानी 12 वुमेन दे विल फॉर्म ए ग्रुप. ओके, सो हम हमारा स्टेट में ये कहते हैं कि ड्वाक्रा. आपका स्टेट में क्या बोलेगा ये लोगों को? मालूम है आप लोगों को सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
क्या बोलेगा उन लोगों को?
सर सेम नेम से बोलते हैं सर, सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप.
अच्छा, हमारा स्टेट पे तो अलग है, ये लोगों को ड्वाकरा कहते हैं, ड्वाकरा.
नहीं सर, हमारे यहाँ पे बोलते हैं समवाय गोष्ठी.
Huh? Why are you scolding me, Kaustav? What sin I did for you? Tell me what sin I did for you. How dare you to scold me? What do you say?
So it's समवाय गोष्ठी.
Shama bhai Rusty.
Yes sir.
Shama
Yes,
bhai
sir, in
Rusty.
Bengali.
Shama bhai Rusty. Yeah, nice.
No,
Nice.
sir. It's G. Goshti.
G.
Shama bhai Goshti.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Goshti,
sir.
Goshti means meeting.
Yes sir. Goshti means group and
Group.
समवाय means all together.
Shama bhai Goshti.
Yes sir. Yes
Okay.
sir.
Goshti means group. Goshti, group. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so the main motto is economic empowerment of the self-help groups. See, try to understand if you are able to, if you are having a time. So I request you, you can read about some important self-help groups in India. Are you aware about this particular group called as Kudumbashri? Kudumbashri. Are you aware about this Kudumbashri? If not, read it today. Kudumbashri is a famous self-help group in the India. Belongs to Kerala. Please read about this Kudumbashri. Anyway, so after understanding the most important aspects,
Huh?
Boloma,
Sir, what is meant by mission mode? Tourism promotion in mission mode? I didn't understand that. Mission mode.
mission mode means in a simple manner, it's a mission mode. That's it. So mission mode means always mission mode. See, try to understand here. The idea of adding like the words like mission mode means doing at a greater level, or you can tell you doing at a faster level at the same time at a timely level. For example, you see mission mode according to Ministry of Information and Technology, they are considered to be whatever
With targets.
projects with a timely limit, with a specified targets. In fact, according to Shekhar, even we can add it. And apart from that, it will have outcomes which are measurable outcomes. Okay, measurable outcomes, that is the most important thing. So, if you have targets, timely implementation, that we call it as mission mode implementation. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank.
It's my pleasure. Okay. Now, let us come to the come back to our discussion again. So, as I told you, we discussed these important things. So, coming to education point of view, now we are going to see this skilling. The skilling. What is the scheme announced for the skilling? It is Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Samman. Please remember that. Okay. Now, further, what we can understand is for the health issues, we have number one, 157 new nursing colleges to be established. Why nursing colleges are established in India? Try to understand. According to WHO data, that is government of India. According to WHO data, there are only 1.7 trained nurses in India for 1,000 people. According to WHO data in India, there is only 1.7 people. Try to understand here. Please do understand. That is, according to recommendations of the WTO, there should be 4 trained nurses for every 1,000 people. But how many are in India right now? 1.7. Now, Government of India is clearly not happy with the nurses availability during COVID time. In fact, there is one act in India called as Indian Nursing Council Act. Indian Nursing Council Act. When it was established, when it was created, it was created in 1947. Now try to understand, from 1947 to till today, how many changes we got in the health sector, not only in terms of infrastructure, new diseases, but still we are governed by the same act. However, in 2020, they started to bring a bill, but unfortunately it was failed. What I want to convey to you is, the bill is unable to implement it. Anyway, Government of India, without that legislative process, now they decided to bring a law. 157 new colleges, remember that. Next, Government of India decided to launch a dedicated program for the sickle cell anemia issues. Now, sickle cell anemia is one of the much affecting disease. In fact, much affecting disease in tribal population. So those who are preparing for the optional paper of anthropology, you will also aware about it. Sickle cell anemia is a tribal, much prevalent in tribal issues. Now, there are some initiatives. For example, Government of India started Sickle Cell Research Institute in Raipur, in Chhattisgarh. However, this year, Government of India decided to end the sickle cell disease in a mission mode. So remember that. Which disease? It can be a question. Which of the following disease is targeted by Government of India in budget? It is sickle cell anemia. You should also add one more information. By 2024, Government of India 2025 decided to eliminate TB. Further, there is a scheme called as Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat. You can find about much information about this in our GEO IAS Academy YouTube channel. I made a separate video on it. Please watch it. Whatever we discussed in this sickle cell anemia, further we have now private and public research. Private and public research is there. Finally, you should see the expenditure budget is now for health is 2.1 and for the education is 2.9, which is somewhat progressive. Do remember. So 1.42, 2.1, 2.9. So please remember this number is also quite important for the prelims point of view. So the current expenditure for health is 2.1. The current expenditure for the education is 2.9. Now,
Sir,
bolo bhai.
sir, but this financial year बजट में सर एडुकेशन और हेल्थ में जो पिछले बार जो हुआ था मतलब एलोकेट किया गया था उससे कम कर दिया गया है तो सर कैसे होगा सर ये सब काम स्टार्ट
Now, what I want to convey to you is, in an interesting manner, the money given to the educational health sector was reduced to some extent. However, Government of India trying to say it was the percentage of GDP. Okay, so within the percentage of GDP, they tried to project the number is raised. Let me give you an example. Let us say there is 100 rupees. Now there are 10 people. Each person will get 10 rupees. Is it clear or not? Let us say if the people reduce it to 5, now each person will get 20 rupees. So similarly, what Indian government decided is, they tried to change the expenditure part on the health and education. So in that manner, money was reduced, but the share was increased. This is somewhat very interesting to read. However, I'm not focusing on it because the data which was presented to you was given by Government of India. So we should read it for the sake of the exam. For analysis part, let us discuss for some other time. We can fight each other, okay? But now let us focus about what Government of India given to us. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And sir, this sickle cell anemia, which institute established will be in Raipur. It's only for the sickle cell anemia disease,
No,
or
it was already established, my dear. It was already established. Now
okay,
Government of
okay,
India decided to go for only elimination of it. Okay.
okay,
Now
okay.
let me give you some good information about what is the sickle cell anemia is about. Sickle cell anemia is a disorder that causes red blood cells to break down. Okay, so sickle cell anemia will try to the breakdown of red blood cells. Okay, and that is the most important thing. And this will create a lot of problems. So primarily this sickle cell anemia is caused due to the faulty hemoglobin genes. Try to understand, this faulty hemoglobin gene is called as hemoglobin S. Okay, so this is mostly prevalent in tribal population in India. And rest of the things it is okay. Okay, so now further what I want to convey to you is this is one more important issue. Next we have a research in the pharmaceuticals. Okay, and coming to infrastructure part, as I told you clearly, one of the important agenda of the government is to have infrastructure and investment. So what is this infrastructure investment? We'll discuss it. So coming to infrastructure and investment, now Government of India trying to create more and more infrastructure. If you ask me, sir, why infrastructure is important, try to understand. It is the infrastructure of the Mauryans which placed them beyond the other Janapadas. For example, we have Uttarapada. Okay, and we have number of ports. For example, the famous port is called as Tamra Lipti. Port, which is the reason for the one of the reason for the Kalinga War. Now, if you understand the idea of Dalhousie, of course, you will remember this person because of his policy called as Doctrine of Lapse. Huh? Doctrine of Lapse.
No, sir. Railways.
Coming to the point here, he even brought railways. He even brought public works department. He even brought postal department. Now try to understand China. China brought massive infrastructure. But in India, coming to Indian point of view, we are deficit in infrastructure. That's the reason we should have infrastructure. And Government of India now going for the capital investment of almost 10 lakh crores. Next, 50 years interest-free loans and state governments for infrastructure. Next, around 2.4 lakh crores for railways. 100 transport infrastructure projects going to develop in India. Then we also going to have creating urban infrastructure via UIDF funds. So what is this UIDF is about? Urban Infrastructure Development Fund. Urban Infrastructure Development Fund. Okay. So now we are going to have Urban Infrastructure Development Fund in Urban Infrastructure Development Fund as by the government itself. Okay. Urban, I guess you can write there, Urban Infrastructure Development Fund. Urban Infrastructure Development Fund. Okay. So Urban Infrastructure Development Fund is also going to be created, and this will be done. Now, a question can be raised. What is this Urban Infrastructure Development Fund? One should have a clear idea, please. So Urban Infrastructure Development Fund, which is going to be created by using priority sector lending. How many of you have idea about this? No, please reply me so that I can give you clarity. Okay, I will explain it if you are not clear.
Sir,
So
I
please
guess,
explain.
प्रीति आप तो कुछ बोला. I guess Kaustav also.
yes, sir. Hello, sir. I guess I have little bit of idea about it. Side like banks are compiled to reserve certain amount of money for a certain sector, so they are required to give that fixed amount of money to only for the certain sector, sir. That is, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Any other try?
Sir, in addition to that, I think that money is basically given for like making investment and infrastructure, creating infrastructure, all these purposes, like to boost up the economy.
Great. Okay. I will just give you a much more clarity regarding this. Try to understand. Banks in India will do not only business. Banks in India will also provide certain help to the society. Under that aspect, priority sector lending is one of the key element in it. Priority sector lending is a certain portion of the lending. Certain portion of lending was reserved to particular sectors in India. Particular sectors in India. So, whatever bank it can be, in India, they should give certain portions of money to a particular sectors. Now, this is not uniform, in fact. It is not uniform. Please remember my words. It is not uniform. For example, whatever the banks who are comes under regional rural banks, comes under cooperative banks, comes under small finance banks, these banks should give 75% of their credit. In fact, adjusted net bank credit to these branches. Now, try to understand. It is a 75% of the money they should give. Now, the Indian scheduled commercial banks plus foreign banks having more than 20 branches plus foreign banks having more than 20 branches, they should give scheduled commercial banks plus foreign banks having more than 20 branches. They should give 40% of their adjusted net bank credit. Now, if the foreign banks are having less than 20 branches, they should give 32% of their credit. Understand? So what we can say is that is, so the banks are supposed to give these aspects to everything. Now these banks are supposed to give certain amount of loan to the particular sector. So if you are unable to meet it, definitely it is going to have some implications on the bank. Now one can ask me, sir, what will happen if we are unable to follow? What will happen, sir? If you are unable to follow it, obviously you will face certain kind of penalties. Okay, so whatever I will tell you, try to understand. So what type of penalties you will face? Okay, what type of penalties you will face? I will try to give that clarity. Now, first and foremost one, if you miss this clarity, obviously, one thing, the banks which are failed to meet this target, they will pay some kind of penalty to the, if it is a, let us say, just a second, yeah, what type of penalties they will go for it. So let us say if it is if it is a bank which is the Indian bank and which is also having more than 40 branches, so they will try to pay certain amount. They will try to pay certain amount to the rural infrastructure development fund. Rural infrastructure development fund. Okay, now this rural infrastructure development fund will try to develop will try to develop some kind of infrastructure in the village areas. Now, if the bank is now, as per the 2023 budget, what government of India decided is, it is now going to have a new kind of thing called as urban infrastructure development fund. Is it clear? Till now it is rural development infrastructure fund, but now we are going to have urban development infrastructure fund. But what is most important for me is, you should understand what is priority sector lending, what are the different rates for the banks and everything. You should have a clarity. Shall I move further? Shall I? Or shall I wait?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Kaushal, is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that, we are even completed the issue of the infrastructure. Now let me focus about the green growth. Now, what is the green growth is about? Okay, just a second, ma, Chapra. Tenth inter కూడా పని అవుతుందా? పని అయితే అక్కడనా ఫార్వర్డ్ చేస్తావు అది. Response around there. The green phase of the issue. So the green growth. Now, green growth is important in two aspects. One, India committed goals for Glasgow Summit, which is in Prime Minister Narendra Modi sir words, it is called as Panchamrit. I also request you everyone should have the 5 goals in your mind for the pre. 2. In the COP28 meeting, Government of India focused on leads, long-term emissions, decreasing goals. I mean decreasing formulas. So leads is also important. To achieve these leads, LT leads, long-term emissions targets. Now it started to have PM Pranam, okay, which is to have alternative fertilizers uses. Waste to energy, it's a Gobar Dhan, waste to energy plants. Next, they are going to announce sustainable actions, green credit program. So, what do you mean by green credit program? Try to understand. Government of India now going to have a green credit based on the investment in the renewable energy. If you are if you are beginning a renewable energy project, you will get this green credit. Now, for the first time ever in Indian history, Government of India going to launch a mangrove coastline conservation project called as MISTI and Amrut Dharohar, which is conservation of wetlands. Understand the story of wetlands in India. The story of wetlands in India grow like anything. You know, during this time of just a second, during this time of yeah, so during the last few months, Government of India decided to have this great idea and trying to have this. So trying to have the changes. For example, Government of India in a series of manners, they announced about different projects. Today, India consists of 75 wetlands. As of 2023, India consists 75 wetlands. Okay. Now, apart from that, this 75 wetlands covering 13 lakh acres in India, hectares in India. So, 13 lakh hectares in India. And you should also remember that recently on Feb 2nd, India took part of celebrations of International Wetland Day. This year, the theme of the Wetland Day is It's Time for Wetland Restoration. It's time for wetland restoration. Okay. So, this is the most important information for all of us. Whatever, try to understand that you should have an idea that the importance of wetlands is now recognized by Government of India. You can ask me, sir, why wetlands are important. I can discuss, but it's not a time. Wetlands are very important for water aquifers. Water aquifers, do understand this, okay? So, next important thing is it is going to conduct Center to facilitate natural farming, and battery energy storage system, coastal shipping, and funds to replace the older polluting vehicles. In fact, while reading this statement, Nirmala Sitharaman stated, uh, proposing to replace old political. Okay, now immediately she said old polluting, right? So remember this. Already, Government of India is also launching vehicle scrapping policy. So you should read from that line. Okay. Now, further we have Pradhana Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, and which is focusing on artificial intelligence and digital revolution 4.0. Then we have skill digital platform also going to launch in India. Further, it is now going to have financial sector, okay, focusing on inclusive development, data processing, credit guarantee scheme for the MSMEs, National Samman Bachat Patra, which is a small savings scheme, okay, for 2 periods of time. It is up to 2 lakh. Any busy ఉన్న తర్వాత వస్తారు పో. And it is also going to create. Next, we have senior citizen scheme. So all these are somewhat important, but not specifically focusing aspects. Okay, so you just read them, not to go deep into these aspects because they are just proposals. Now, coming to indirect tax. Now it is interesting that Government of India decided to give exempt from tax duty on the biogas, which is a very interesting initiative for the enhancement of the renewable energy. Then we have electronics and electrical things also. Government of India gave some calls. All these are quite important with respect to mains answer writing. Now this is the last aspect I would like to cover, where money comes from and where money goes. So the major portion you can see here is the borrowings. The second important thing is Government of India getting most important income from income tax as even a corporate tax. So then goods and services is just 17% and union excise duty is 7%. Now coming to see here, the money is the money is going to mostly in these aspects. Okay. So more money is going to borrowings aspect high. So this is somewhat interesting. But anyway, I request you can refer this in your sharing notes also. So what I can confirm is today Government of India is not at all tackling the issue of fiscal deficit. Okay. So the issue of fiscal deficit is still there in India. So money is generally coming from the borrowings and money is generally going to these aspects. So the major portion is going to interest payments. Okay, because borrowings are high, interest should be high. And remaining things are duties are there, finance commission grants, everything is going on. So money is going to this interest payments is which is unfortunate. Clear. So with this, I finished the outlines of budget. So you just please do read again the most important facts, okay, associated with budget. Further read about these important associated things. Then we have to read about issues like what is the vision for the Amrit Kal, what are the seven Saptarishis, what are the achievements, what is achievements in what is the focus areas in education, health, for transformative opportunities. Then what are the health issues, infrastructure issues, economy issues, taxation, youth, and finally, where money comes, where money goes. Am I clear?
So can you show me the Saptarishis name, that slide?
You want name of the rishis or you want just
The name
only
name.
Your
Names.
names.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
Atri, Pulha. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes, Preeti.
so what are the kind of penalties the bank will face if they will unable to follow?
Yeah. Penalty. You are asking about penalty charges, right?
Yes, sir. What are the kind of penalties?
Sure. I will definitely just help you. For that, just give me 1 minute, please. Okay. Just a second. Okay. So just give me a second. Kaushal, is it okay? Shall I move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, as I told you, when banks are unable to fulfill the things, fulfill the goals. Okay. So what they will do is, if the banks fail to, if banks fail to 30%, or you can say if bank fails to meet the percentage, let us say if the bank fail to meet the exact percentage, in fact, then it will go to a rural infrastructure development fund, and here it will be decided that it is 2% of the bank plus bank rate. I mean to say 2% plus bank rate. What is the 2% here? The amount which they were unable to fail to meet, that 2% and bank rate. In other words, I can tell you, if they fail to meet the limit, or let us say if they fail to meet a certain limit, they will go for this. Now, according to RBI, there are some standards here. First standard is, if they meet only 30%, let us say, instead of 40%, instead of the given 32%, if they meet only 30%, then they will have bank rate plus they will also have 2%. Now, if they fail to meet only 20%, if they meet only 20%, then the money will be goes to small enterprises development fund. There is one thing I want to confirm to you. This bank rate plus 2% is subject to change when the situation changes. For example, uh, when you have, let us say, repeated banks, let us say some banks are repeatedly doing this, then they will add some other extra penalties. So penalties will subject for change time to time, my dear. But I can tell you, if they are unable to meet, they will go for these two important payments. One payment is they will give, they will try to pay to the National Rural Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. Okay, or else they will pay to Small Enterprise Development Fund. Is it clear? But this is
Yes, sir.
certain limits. This is only for certain. I think this is for only for certain cases, as per RBI, as per my knowledge goes. However, subject for correction, subject for changes also. This is old information when I read almost 5 years back.
Okay, sir, we'll go through that.
Please go through the notes. No issue. So I hope you got some idea about budget. I'm not getting that you will get everything from the class notes, but I guess some idea about the budget. Can I accept that? Can you accept that statement?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
of course.
Then now we are going to see that Government of India decided to have archaeological tourism at G20 meetings. Now, from today, in fact, the archaeological meetings were started from the G20 meetings. In last session, I think we discussed about all the G20 updates till now. I guess those who are in the class, they can recall. Kaushal, Kaustav, Joey.
Yes, sir.
We discussed it, right? The first summit,
Yes, sir.
the startup summit, and everything, we discussed it. Now, add to that information, we are going to have the rural tourism aspect. Rural tourism aspect. A rural tourism, in fact, tourism summit, tourism G20 meetings going to happen in the region of Ran of Kutch. Ran of Kutch, okay? That we are going to see there. Now, what is important is Government of India decided to showcase heritage sites of India. Heritage sites of India, like famously Dholovera, which is a Indus Valley city, in fact. Okay, please add this information to your notes. Next, action on child marriages leaves girls in distress. Now, this is a story which was happened uh, in the recent times, in the area of Assam. Okay, so in a way to tackle the child marriages, Assam government is now targeting some people, clearly attacking. Now, because of some issues, it is creating a lot of conflicts. Now, try to understand this article from the interesting point of view. That is, there are nowadays an issue of relations. Now, these relations are clearly challenging two important issues. One is issue of POXO. The other one is issue of child marriage. Let me bring to you the observations given by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. Chandrachud sir clearly stated that POXO Act is trying to create some kind of challenge to the boys. Most of the times, when relations are bursted, when relations are known to the people, it is the boys they will become the victims. And when they become the victims, what they will do, not victims in fact, boys will they become the culprits. And definitely they have two options. Either they should become yogi, or else they should become Kabir Singh. Okay. So this kind of Kabir Singh attitude is rising nowadays. Anyway, try to understand the main focus here. The idea of relations is going very bad. Okay. Now, uh, this relationships now even creating problems to child marriages. So this is what happened in Assam. Issue is not important, but it is raising a question that India is not ready to tackle this relationships or relations. Okay, so please do have an idea about this. It's just a common sense article, nothing much important. Now, USA and China is now going to have a issue regarding surveillance balloon. This is the last topic which we'll discuss for today's session. Okay, so what is this surveillance balloon concept and when it started? Now, uh, generally, generally, we call it as surveillance balloon, but generally, this type of balloons are called as observations observation balloon. Okay, so what is this observation balloon is about? It is the balloons which are used to collect data or intelligence. And here we should remember French Revolution time it was used for the first time. French Revolutionary Wars it was used first time and even used in the World War One time also. Okay, now there are certain issues associated with it. In French Revolution time in 1974 also it was used. Now what is interesting is there are time and again issues about this, but for the first time ever in 2023 again this came to the limelight. Now this is called as high altitude balloon. High altitude balloon, and this high altitude balloon is operated by China and trying to get the information from the American Chinese sites. And but China says it is not a surveillance issue. It is just a it is just a meteorological research airship. Meteorological research airship. Okay. So this is now it is a issue going to happen in the time. Whatever right now the issue became a famous issue. So which is time and again in the news. So whatever I want to convey to you, this balloon is a very advanced one which is having solar panel also. Okay, so let us wait and watch for the next developments. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay then.
Yes.
So I will stop here, try to, and I will discuss remaining issues in the next class. Thank you so much and Jai Hind.
Sir,
Meanwhile, you can talk to me if you have any doubts in the preparation. I will wait for some time. I guess no one having any questions. I think
sir, I want to ask about the mangroves, which you have said now.
yeah. Wetlands.
Yes, sir, the wetland and the mangroves. What was the name? This
Mishti.
Amrit Dharohar and another.
Yeah. It is misty.
Okay, sir.
I will share you the notes. Don't worry. Okay. I will share you the entire PPT today's class. You can access it from the authorities. Okay. I guess
Okay, sir.
Preeti, you are attending this class first time, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How is your experience, Preeti?
Sorry, sir.
How is your experience in the first class? Is it okay?
Yes, sir. It's good. I enjoyed the class.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Generally, these people will enjoy like anything. Joey, Kaushal, Kaustav. Okay.